Welcome back to our next episode of Uncivil Discourse, hosted by Lee,
Hey, everybody. And yes, I'm waving.
myself, and our guest commentator this year, Jeff.
How's it going?
I got nothing.
All right, then. Moving on to Jeff. I'm sure you got something to say.
This week's been pretty exciting for our games, and I know we have a couple of upsets to discuss as we go further on. On top of that, we do have a little bit of an announcement. Unfortunately, due to life circumstances, Andre from Renshield's Dragoon has had to take his leave for this season. But replacing him, we have James, who's coming in as a free Rosselhog player, running his Ghosts of Gunsburg.
Bring our new player up to week 4. We'll just summarize the lance and skill spends so far. Rocking the ever-famous and popular Wolverine 7K in the medium slot. We see a Black Knight get chassis upgraded into our third Marauder 5D. Again, this year faction tech was used on a Grasshopper to make those medium X pulses go further, and the large gets upgraded as well. Lastly, he has another Viking 2F running the same technician mod as the Dracons, removing the machine guns and ammo for armor, that case 2, and an extra heatsink, as well as grabbing the faction tech skill Thunderstruck for half range on the LRM minimums. Couple of other announcements for the league. Rescheduling needs to be done via email to the admins and with consideration for time needed to get your supplies ready and at the den for you. Next day is very difficult for us to get things ready and done, especially if you need skill spends done ahead of time. We're going to have to change a few things to try to curb those situations. However, you need to send in emails. Some of you sent them in with more than advanced time, but we kind of dropped the ball. We apologize, but we will get those set up for you as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Just be patient with us, but please try to give us as much time as possible.
On to skill spends for this week. Kondo's Janissaries. The Penetrator picks up Anticipation.
The Kel's Keshik Fafnir picks up Favorite Weapon Plasma Rifle.
The Remnant's Warhammer picks up Engineering Skill to get an Einarch, C3I, and a Beagle. The starting BV was 1431. Drops the machine guns and the small lasers and the SRM. Adds C3I, the Beagle, and the Einarch as mentioned. It has 3 tons of ammo. Drops the heat sinks to 12 doubles. Adds case 2. Swaps the ferrofibrous armor to Endo, taking it up to 216 out of 217. New BV 1554 for a 123 point increase.
Riston's Rogues, their shootist, takes Underworld Contact for Endo Steel. We haven't quite finished that build yet, so that one will be out by podcast release on Friday.
Fox Knight's King Crab picks up Anticipation.
Neon Beaton's Warhawk picks up Camouflage, and the Elementals grab Bribery and Cram.
Half Cut, their Warhammer takes Engineering, and the Vengeful One's Daishi also takes Engineering. However, they kind of got mixed up in the shuffle, and those will also be done by release of the podcast. Unfortunately, we can't give you any details on those ones at the moment.
The Kenkazi Marauder got engineered as well. Starting battle value on that was 1363. The upgrades were, we swapped the engine for an XL engine, swapped the AC5 for an ERPPC, and swapped both PPCs for LB10Xs. It adds Endo Steel, gains 11 double heat sinks, armor increases to 224 of 224 out of 231, which is 97% coverage. It adds 1 medium laser, it adds Beagle and a C3 Slave with 2 tons of ammo in case 2 for each arm, so that's 2 tons of ammo for each of those LBXs. And it generates 22 heat and dissipates 22 heat. The new battle value is 1743 or a 380 battle value increase.
The Alshane Regulars bank, as do the Tin Man's Tin Cans.
The NASIT, or NAIS, CIT's Nightstar takes Personal Vendetta, and the Rifleman takes Steady Hands.
The Radiant Raven Raiders banked as well.
The 1st Merrick Militia, the Crab, starting BV of 1143, Picks up Underworld Contacts for 12 double heat sinks, adds a 1 extra medium laser and ECM, increases the armor to 168 out of 169, new BV 1364 or an increase of 221.
The first Dracons, that Shadowhawk took target lock.
Bender's Frostfangs, banked.
Blitzkrieg Jezebels, the Goliath, picks up Lethargic.
Devil's Brigade banked their points as well.
The Pit Vipers gain pain resistant on the Fafnir.
The Wolfpack, Night Sky 5T, starting BV 1356, clan salvages the ERPPC and gets 1 extra ton of armor to 168 out of 169. New BV is 1754 or an increase of 398 points.
Thumper's Revenge Rakshasa picks up Case 2, and the Stealth grabs Forest Fire.
Cat's Nightingale Cavalry, the Longbow picks up Field Test for that specialty SRM ammo.
Ansgar's Outlaws uses the wily veteran mercenary specific skill to pick up the clan faction skill of Zeldjabrin.
Hogan's Heroes, the Uziel, took Nearsighted, and the Cerebus took Stand and Deliver.
Wendigo's Night Stalkers, Marauder picks up a Clan XL engine.
Abishai's Avengers, the Black Knight 6, starting BV of 1551, uses Underworld Contacts for double heat sinks. It is 15 double heat sinks, upgrades 1 large laser to a 2nd PPC, upgrades the small laser to a 5th medium, adds ECM, and increases the armor to 224 out of 231 or 97% coverage. New BV is 1804, increase of 253, and Paxton's Pathfinders do the exact same mod on their exact same map.
The Dead Man's Hand, they trade in their Banshee, upgrading it to a Templar C.
Cop out.
I love it. Templar C, way to go. Red Sun's Irregulars engineer their Dragonfly to remove the SRM. This came in late in the week, so we don't have anything more on this right now, but it will be out by the release of the podcast.
League of Robots pick up Long Jumper on them Elementals.
Finally, Teddy Bear Parade, another team banking their points. They're going to see something exciting next week because a lot of guys are building up those points to be able to buy some of those more expensive 5 and 6 point skills.
There's a couple of really interesting skill spends in here. Pretty interested to see how those extra engineerings pan out, the ones that aren't quite done. The Underworld's Contacts on that Crab for First American Militia. That is making that a really nice upgrade for sure. The ERPPC on that Night Sky, that's one heck of an upgrade as well. The Clan XL engine on the Night Stalker's Marauder, that makes that Marauder, which was already a beast, even more of a threat because you don't have to doesn't have to worry about that one torso losing one torso and going down. I'll be honest, I'm really excited to see Dead Man's Hand's new Templar C. The Templar is always a really great mech, so I'm really curious to see how that pans out for you, Lee. That also means that in this week we had 9 people that banked. There's going to be some big skill spends coming next week, I'm guessing. But a few of those were because skill spends didn't get actually sent in. So once again, guys, please make sure you get those skill spends in a timely fashion. You got a week from game day to get them in. Make sure you get them in so that way things can get done on a timely fashion and we can put this out with the proper information.
Yeah, on that note, skill cutoff is 5 p.m. Sunday after game day. We record just a couple hours later. So if you're doing any kind of rebuilds, get those in earlier so that we can actually have time to process it, rather than sending it in like just the day before or the day of cutoff. And don't forget, you get banked if you miss cutoff, so get them in on time. On to the match summary from our previous week. Let's take a look at the first game of the week. Heather and her Blitzkrieg Jezebels were up against Chris and the Remnants. These teams meet in arena number 22, the Grasslands, and end with a 2-1 Remnants victory at time.
Well, the Thunderhawk definitely did not do its work today, but that Remnant's Avatar did some serious work getting both kills up until the point the Blitzkrieg Bark has finished it off.
Game number 2, we saw Jay and the Wendigos Night Stalkers versus Brandon's Radiant Raven Raiders. These teams met on Arena 19, the lunar base. This game went to near time, and we see the Wendigo pick up a 4-2 victory over the Radiant Raven Raiders.
In turn 6 has the Avatar and the Wolverine take each other out of combat. The following turn, the Archer wanders into the Wolverine's Rubble Hex and falls down, taking multiple pilot hits and then going to sleep. Later on, the Battlemaster also fell down, taking multiple pilot hits and going to sleep. Each of those pilots ended up with 5 pilot hits and spent a good time at the game just laying there waiting to be murdered.
Which I do believe, if I remember correctly, it was the Wendigo's Awesome that basically just ran around and did periphery things to sleeping pilots.
Yeah, because the Wolverine was dead, the Guillotine was missing a leg, and at that point in time, the Night Sky, or the other Heavy, was gone too.
Game number 3, Matt and his Cats Calvary versus Darren and the Teddy Bear Parade. These teams met on Arena number 17, the Rolling Hills, and it looks like the Cavalry got eaten by the Bears in a 4-0 loss.
You have to fear that Kodiak that the Bears put on the table. It pulled 3 of the 4 kills today. The Warhammer getting the last kill.
I believe if we check the Killer's Corner, the Kodiak has 7 kills out of 3 games, 0 deaths.
Game number 4, Dead Man's Hand versus Jared and the League of Robots. These teams meet on Arena number 2, Deathly Desert, with a Robots 4-0 victory. Lee, weren't you supposed to win that one?
The only reason why I voted myself to win was because I can't vote for myself to lose. The Glass Spider and the Day Sheep each picked up a kill, and the Ice Ferret getting the other 2 kills. I don't even know what to say at this point. We're 3 games in. I've killed a single mech. I've lost all 12 of my own. My mechs just aren't hitting, which is why I replaced the Banshee with the Templar, because 5 medium pulse lasers and an LB-20X, I should be able to hit with something. All in all, it was a great game. Jared, you walked all over me, but right now, I'm just the welcome mat for the league. Just keep coming in and kicking me while I'm down. Next.
Game number 5 saw Cal and the Pit Vipers versus Devin and his First American Militia. These teams met on Arena number 9, the River Basin, everybody's favorite arena. This is our tie game this week with a 2-2 final score. I'll tell you, I witnessed this match myself. There was a whole lot of falling down. There was a whole lot of shooting from prone. There was a whole lot of Fafnir missing, followed by Fafnir saving the day at the very end of it. It looked for sure at coming to the closing points of it. It looked for sure that this was going to be a First American Militia win, 2-1 win originally, and then right near the end, Cal and his Pit Vipers pulled it together and tied it up. It was a great game.
Game number 6, Alexander brings the Wolfpack versus Phil and Hogan's Heroes. These teams meet on Arena number 15, the Forward Base, with the Wolfpack pulling down the Hogan Heroes in a 4-0 final score.
Early on, the Heroes Rakshasa falls down and crits its own hip. Not a good way to start. This turns into a 2-man show as the Thunderbolt takes out the Uziel, then the Rakshasa. The Night Sky asks the Bandersnatch a question. Who writes this stuff? And then it also finished off the Cerebus. Not a great first game for Hogan's Heroes, as their first 2 games were actually by wins. So this is actually Phil's first kick at the cat on the table.
Yeah, so his first game coming in against the B-side champion from last year. Kind of a rough start, but hey, He got a game in.
You finally got to play.
Game number 7, Laura and Thumper's Revenge versus Todd and then NAISCIT from the Fed Sons. These teams meet on Arena number 1, the Grasslands map. The Bunnies bounced to a 2-1 victory this week.
Well, early on, the Grasshopper took out the Blackjack. And in response, the Night Star takes out the Bunnies Rakshasa. However, at the same time, the Longbow was lighting up the Marauder with Infernos, while it then Alpha Striked. It shot up so high that it cooked off its own ammo and blows up. So in the end, the bunnies get their 3rd win in a row.
Game number 8, Scott with the Devil's Brigade versus Justin's Tin Man's Tin Cans. These teams meet on Arena 27, the Mines. Apparently the Devil's Brigade likes playing in the sand, as they crush the cans in a 4-1 finale.
So many pilots died today. The Night Sky claims the Phoenix Hawk and the Guillotine pilots. The Penetrator takes off the head of the Battlemaster, while the Night Sky falls in water, taking itself out. And then the Thunderbolt falls after failing a piloting check entering a Rebel Hex and crits out its engine.
I gotta say, I absolutely love seeing the record sheets where it says Night Sky kills Night Sky.
This one was Night Sky killed by water.
Yeah, it's just interesting when people wipe themselves out. I've done it, totally see it happening, but it is really funny to read in the reports.
Way to deny your opponent's kill counter for that Headhunter mechs. You don't get to kill me. I'm going to take myself out. Game number 9. Andre's Renshield Dragoons face off against my first Dracons. These teams met on Arena 11, the Barren Lands. This nail-biter of a game ended in a 4-3 victory for the Dracons, but the Viking had 0 ammo at the end of the game and only 2 small lasers to engage with.
So the way this game played out is that the Dracon's Shadowhawk punches the Cataphract in the center torso to core it out, and then kicks the Victor's torso out as well, a few turns later. While the Viking rains death, claiming the Vindicator and the Marauder with the last of its missiles. But on the flip side, the Marauder is the MVP, getting all 3 of the Dracon kills.
What a way to go out of your last game, Andre. Congratulations on that. Game number 10, the Fenrir's Frostfangs and the Elshane Regulars ends up being another bye win, this time for Elshane's Regulars.
Game number 11, Aaron with the Neon Betons squaring off against Corey's Ansgar's Outlaws. These teams meet on Arena 8, the Wooded Hills. The fall of the Clanners, the Outlaws bring home the 3-1 victory.
I'll tell you, I got to watch this one. It was some of the most... Remember when I said a long time ago that Corey likes to zig when he should zag? He's a little random. He basically ran that sad cat straight up. There's so many hills, so much cover, and he was like, nope, no hills, no cover for me. We're going right up the middle. We're going to run right at him, swinging my arms, flailing like a windmill, and we're going to hope that it distracts him so that I can put the rest of my mechs in position. And it did. The Rakshasa ate fire for about 4 turns. And then by that point in time, the rest of the lance is in position. On turn 6, the Outlaws, Marauder 2, manages to head cap the Warhawk. At that point in time, I was like, oh, wow, that's a big hit for the Clanners to take, losing their assault like that. A few turns later, the Marauder jumps in behind the Nova, not realizing that Nova had flip arms. The Nova flips its arms backwards, and Alpha strikes the Marauder, knocking it flat on its ass. Unfortunately, he shuts himself down. The Marauder stood back up, and everything else was right there. After some maneuvering, everything shoots the Nova the following turn, blows off a torso, basically strips all the armor off everything. The Griffin goes, I'm going to DFA that Nova as well. But before the DFA goes off, the Nova falls over because of the sheer amount of firepower it just ate, and crits its last engine slot. This was followed up by the Griffin landing in a Rebel Hex with a failed DFA because there's nothing there to hit, and immediately falling over and stripping a whole bunch of armor off of its rear torsos. A couple turns later, the Thunderbolt was being lined up by the Marauder. The Marauder 2. The Marauder 2 is shooting its way through at this Thunderbolt, gets into a 4-hex range, and goes, I'm going to DFA that Thunderbolt. DFA goes up. Thunderbolt shoots that Marauder 2 square in the face with an ER large laser. DFA fails. piloting check fails. Marauder falls on its face and basically strips its entire center torso. Somehow, after all of that, Ansgar's outlaws manage to stand up, clobber the Thunderbolt with a head cap as well, and then proceed to take 2/5 of the Elemental Squad out before the match was over. This one was a roller coaster to watch. It was fantastic. It was well played on both parts. I'm not sure I would have ran one of my heaviest hitting mechs straight up the middle like that as a sacrifice, but the plan worked out, and the clanners fell to weird intersphere tactics.
Game number 12, Gary's Red Sun's Irregulars meet Jeff and Riston's Rogues. These teams meet on arena number 6, the Road in the Hills. More clanners falling from grace with the Rogues bringing home a 3-1 win.
This is another situation of where you see Comstar's C3I come into really good effect. Jeff's Riston's Rogues, I don't think they came off the hill in the back corner with 3 of his mechs. His Perseus, his Shootist, and his Battlemaster basically sat on this hill in the back corner. The Kintaro spotted for them. Basically led to the downfall of the Daishi, and it was just all around. It ended up being mass devastation on all parts, with the Dragonfly trying to do an outflanking maneuver and then getting smacked down. The Daishi ate a whole lot more fire than I think was expected to, because he had to advance as Riston's was sitting at the back of the table, making it really hard for him to hit. So the poor Kintaro ate a whole pile of damage, but in the end, Jeff pulled it out with solid Comstar tactics and C3I technology.
Game number 13. We see Galen and the Kenkazi up against JP's Condo's Janissaries. These teams meet on arena number 25, the Bloody Basin, with the game wrapping up with a 2-1 Janissaries win.
The Yuhang head caps the Wraith. The Hunchback takes out the Marauder, turning it into battlefield salvage, while the Atlas makes the Hunchback pay for its aggressiveness.
Game number 14, Hamilton's Foch Knights versus Chris's Paxton's Pathfinders. These teams meet in Arena 16, the Lakes and Streams. One knight goes down, but all of the Pathfinders get lost in the wilderness. 4-1 Foch victory.
Early on, the 2 opposing Grasshopper and the Exterminator both lose their heads. Everybody's sitting at 1-1. Then, the Marauder tries to take off an iPod, clocking itself in the face, while the other Grasshopper capitalizes on it, and the King Crab puts down both the Wraith and the Black Knight. So, a lot of chaos, and unfortunately, 4 of the Pathfinders found out the hard way.
Game number 15, me with Kelskeshik versus John and the Vengeful Ones. We met on the arena number 29, the Desert. This ended up in another clan loss this week, as the Keshik drops all 4 and only loses 1. The Battle Cobra, which in my original game plan going in against John, that was supposed to die first. Actually was the one that lasted the longest. This mech was the final thing to go down in our game. The freshly acquired T-Sang, after the Daishi, had already fallen down once and taken a head hit. Then it took a head hit from a ER medium laser from the Fafnir. Then it fell down again and took another head hit, and then it took a nap right at the T-Sang's feet. The T-Sang, in true Capellan fashion, lined up a headshot and plugged that hole in the cockpit with a plasma round. Took the Daishi out pretty early because of that. The Scorpion, after we took out every leg actuator except for one hip on the Lancelot, with the Lancelot laying on the ground, the Scorpion came up and proceeded to curb stomp the Lancelot. And then at the very end of the game, the Warhammer, after Elementals ate as much plasma fire as possible, that was needed to remove them, The Warhammer takes a long bomb shot at the Battle Cobra and basically goes through the one arm that was missing into the torso, and then into the center torso for the kill on the Battle Cobra. All around, John, was a good game. I enjoyed playing it. I got really lucky with your Daishi taking a dirt nap, and yeah, I look forward to seeing where your lance goes. It should be interesting for sure.
One thing, we're going to give Jeff a little bit of a second or two to catch his breath. That's a lot of talking you just did about 4 matches. But the clans have not had the best week 3. Looks like, 2 or 3 of them took a loss this week. We're going to see them bounce back really quickly, and I know John's lance just had horrible luck last game. So really, the clanners could have taken a few more games, but it looks like the tech of the Inner Sphere definitely came to play.
Well, we said that at the beginning, that they may have an advantage for game 1 and 2, but after game 3, people are going to be all caught up, and away we go. On to game number 16. Max and the Abishai's Avengers versus Paul and the Half Cut. These teams meet on Arena 21, the Savannah. The Avengers cut down some clanners in another 3-1 finish.
That sneaky Cronus got up close and set off the Warhammer's machine gun, killing it instantly, while the Flashman finished off the Shadowcat and the Warhawk. So, all in all, Abishai Avengers kind of rolled over the clans with some good shooting, and it looks like a little bit of luck.
Remember, kids, center torso machine gun ammo, probably better to run that bin empty.
Well, I guess that brings us to the end of all of our matchups for this week. There was a lot of matches that went not how we thought they were going to, especially for the clan players. I know we said this from the get-go, like Brett had mentioned, that when the Inner Sphere starts getting their skill spends in and starts upgrading stuff, that it will balance it out. But now it's at that point where the clans are getting their skill spends in again, so don't get too cocky, Inner Sphere, and definitely don't get too cocky, clans. Everything's pretty evenly matched at this point.
That will lead us into our week 4 matches. Game number 1. We have the Remnants with 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties. They're facing off against Kelj Keshik. 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. As I promised the commander of the Remnants, I will not vote for them, even though I think they got a heck of a lance. I'm going to call Kelj Keshik get their 3rd win of the season with a 3-2.
I want to vote for the Remnants in this one, just to crap on somebody that's not Lee. But realistically, I think these lances are pretty well, on paper, organized to be even. I think the plasma rifles are not going to be nearly as efficient against the Thunder Chicken as they have been against other more energy-based lances. The Avatar has a Ultra 10 as one of its primary weapons. So again, very ballistic heavy lance, not super impacted by plasma rifles, but they're still 10-point damages. I think this is going to come down to the map, but I'm going to give it to Kelj Keshik as a 3-2, agreeing with Lee, because, when he's right, he's right.
Well, I love voting for the Remnants, but, considering it's me that's playing them, I have to go with myself, and I see it the same way both you guys do. I see it as a 3-2. That Thunderhawk, like you said, Brett, my plasma does nothing to it. After his mods to the Warhammer, my plasma really does nothing to it.
He's got, full 4MX in the link now?
So, I have to try to deal with that Wraith. He's going to get some good shots on me to begin with. We'll see how it goes, but I can't call against myself, so 3-2 for me.
Game number 2. Radiant Raven Raiders. 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. Up against Abishai's Avengers. 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. In this game, I am definitely excited for both teams. They both got their lances in very strong position now. They're ready to start seeing where these skills are going to start taking effect for gunnery, piloting, stuff like that. That Cronus is ugly. In that situation, I am going to call for Max. I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-1 because I think he's going to run him over a little bit as Brandon is he's having some struggles.
I'm going to agree that it is going to be an Abishai's victory, but I think it's going to be 4-2.
Brett, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's 4-2 as well for Abishai's.
That's why I speak before you in the order.
Yeah.
Then we have game number 3, Wendigo's Night Stalkers. 3 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Blitzkrieg Jezebels. 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties. I'm not kissing up here, but Heather has added over the past couple of weeks 2 gunnery skills and came up with a couple of really good tactics on how she wants to play the quad mechs in her lance.
Go into water, go prone?
Avoid water and go prone. Yep. I'm going to say this is going to be actually a really tight game. I think it's going to be a 4-3, and I'm going to call it to Blitzkrieg Jezebels because I think she's got the idea of her mechs. I think she's got it right going. Her mechs are exactly how she wants them, and she's now starting to add gunnery skills.
So Jay's been on a tear this year, 3-0, which is just fantastic for him. Super impressed to see the Night Stalkers doing that well. The Blitzkrieg Jezebels, by comparison, have come up against a couple of really long-range specialized lances that don't really allow her to get in to get short range and whatnot with her heavy gauze rifles and her AC-20. So this match, I think, is going to go a little bit better her way. I think this is probably going to be I almost want to say 2-2 tie, but I think it's going to be a Jezebel's 3-2 win.
Yeah, these close range fights are going to be a lot of kills.
This one, it's a tough one for me as well. I love the Wendigo's lance. I think it is a A-side contender from the day of conception. Blitzkriegs do have their heavy gauze, improved heavy gauze, quads, and that wee little Blitzkrieg running around wreaking havoc. Wendigo's has the awesome with its favorite weapon already, and he took away the disadvantage on that Marauder, which was that triple slotted XL engine, by getting a clan XL engine into it. Both want to be relatively close. I think this is going to come down to map and maneuverability, and if it comes down to who can get where faster, I mean the Blitzkrieg's got the Blitzkrieg, but Wendigo's has the jumpers. I'm going to go with Wendigo's on this at a 3-2.
Game number 4, we have the League of Robots. 3 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. They're throwing down against Cat's Nightingale Cavalry. 3 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. Looking into this battle, the clans have definitely been throwing firepower downfield. Well, both these guys played me. Both these guys kicked my butt. And the only one kind of insulted me doing it was Cat's Nightingale Cavalry because I didn't kill Cat. I am going to say the clans are going to win this one. I'm going to say it will be a 4-2 because the Daishis rule the roost.
I think it's also going to be a 4-2 for the robots, just because that longbow, while dangerous, carries so many tons of ammo, and the clans can just start hammering away from long range. Once that goes down, then the rest is kind of maybe pick up this, maybe pick up that. So we'll see if the robots can pull a 4-2 victory.
Well, didn't Catch just pick up the specialty SRM ammo?
Yeah, but you got to get in range for that.
You do, but you got the LRM ammo to get you into range while you're walking up the field. And I think those Infernos are going to wreak havoc on the Elementals. Should be an easy kill for them. That's 1 point. The Ice Ferret's going to be a tough kill. The Daishi's going to be a tough kill. The Galahad shouldn't be as bad. I'm I'm going to say 3-2 for the robots, though. Just because of the Daishi. Jared seems to have this habit and knack of being able to get that Daishi to bring him back every time.
Game number 5. We have the 1st Merrick Militia. 0 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. They're going to get to see some of that clan action themselves versus the Teddy Bears Parade. 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. That Kodiak is so mean. It's just so mean. The 1st Merrick Militia, their biggest benefit, they have a ton of range. Teddy Bear Parade, they kind of got to get onto the other side of the battlefield before they can do a lot of damage. So it's really up to whether or not the 1st Merrick Militia can throw the damage accurately before the clanners get to them. I am actually going to say the Merrick's Militia is going to pull this one out of the bag. I think their dice are going to actually save them this time, but they're going to pay. It's going to be a 3-2, and it's going to be close to being a tie.
I got a feeling that Grumpy Bear is going to be grumpy, and this is going to be a 3-0 Teddy Bear Parade victory, just because what he's got for mechs are so resilient. The Stormcrow is fast and can take a pounding. The Warhammer can take a pounding. The Kodiak, if you can't kill it, it kills you.
I love me a Ghost Bear. We all know that. And Devin's, he does have the Orion 2M. He's got an awesome... He should be able to put some good damage downwind on that Kodiak as it's coming off the table, or the Ryokan, or the Warhammer. It's just whether or not he can double up and get where he needs to go with it. Get inside and make things go boom, right? But that Kodiak, like you said, Killer's Corner, it's sitting there with 7 kills right now after game 3 with no deaths. I think this is going to be Teddy Bear's win. Let's go with a 3-1.
Yeah, the American Militia's got that Trebuchet, the Orion, the Marauder with faction tech, with all the ER lasers, and the awesome 9M. So he's got lots of range, but he's also got lots of XL engines.
Did we not... Well, we must have made a mistake earlier, because I think we read out that 1st Merrick Militia upgraded a Crab, and I believe that's Alshane Regulars, not 1st Merrick Militia.
Yeah, that's Alshane Regulars.
Yeah, so that was a mistake we made, people. That's the Alshane's Crab that got upgraded, not 1st Merrick Militia.
Pretty sure 1st Merrick Militia ended up banking this week.
Game number 6, we have the Hogan's Heroes with 2 bye wins, 1 loss, 0 ties, up against the Dead Man's Hand, 0 wins, 3 losses, 0 ties, and a single solitary kill.
Wait, who let you get a kill?
Heather let me get a single kill. She's being nice. So,
wife pity.
I'm going to say I'm going to win this game. I've got to win this game. I'm going to bang my head on the table and cry if I don't win this game. My Templar should give me a lot of help. Phil is just still inexperienced, though I guess I'm giving him the easiest second possible game on the table by playing against me. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to say I'm going to win, and I'm going to do it 3-1.
All right. Phil in Hogan's Heroes has a game under his belt now. He understands how things are, and he's playing you. I got to go for the Hogan's Heroes with a 2-1 victory here. He's going to get the win, but not by much.
You know what? I'm going to give Lee the benefit of the doubt. I think that he has something to prove right now with the current win-loss ratio. And I think he's going to come out swinging this time around with his brand new Templar and all of his Gauss rifles sitting on a hill. And I think he's going to come back and he's going to take this one 4-1.
Lee's been swinging. It's the fact that he can't connect that's his problem.
Oh, it's murdering me. Just absolutely killing me. Game number 7. We have the Nasset. 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Pit Vipers. 0 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. Well, on paper, Todd's Lance is definitely in the win cycle. Pit Vipers, not so much. We'll have to see. I think that Night Star might actually be a good anchor for Todd. I think he's playing that well. I'm going to say Todd's going to get his second win, getting himself up to the 500 mark. And I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-2. Because I think the Pit Vipers are going to charge at him as best they can.
All right. Well, I agree with you with the score. I think it's going to be 3-2. I agree with you that one team is going to charge the other team, but I'm pretty confident it's going to be Nace charging into the Viper's Nest. And so I'm calling on a Pit Viper 3-2 victory this time, with the Night Star being left on the table, and I'm not sure what the other.
As long as Cal connects with his Fafnir and hits with those heavy gauze rifles, he can railroad people. I watched him play his match, and that Fafnir was a linchpin for him to come back and tie things up. It has favored weapon. It does have, now it's got pain resistance to stop those pilot hits, because that was definitely a downside for him.
It's also +1 to consciousness checks.
Yeah, and that was like I said, that was a big sticking point for him. That was a rough period there with all the falling he'd been doing. I think Nace CIT picked up steady hands on the rifleman though, right? And that's the one with the LB10Xs?
Yeah, +1 on the cluster chart.
Yeah.
Oh, and I believe his Night Star took personal vendetta.
Apparently missed that altogether. Ooh. 6-1, half dozen another. I'm going to say Cal's due for a win, and he's going to pull this one out with a 3-2 as well.
Game number 8. We have the Tin Man's Tin Cans. 1 bye win, 2 losses, 0 ties. They get to see the young blood of that Wolfpack team. 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties. Well, Justin is starting to get into the swing of things. He struggled a little bit last season. At least he got a single bye win under his belt. Puts him ahead of me. I'm going to say the young blood of the Wolfpack, though, are going to get their second win, bringing themselves also up to the 500 mark with a 2-1.
I think this game is probably going to swing and swing hard. That being the case, I think Alex and the Wolfpack are going to slip in there and pull down the Tin Mans and just go crazy with a 4-2 victory.
I really like Justin's lance. But I think it's just going to get out. The output of the Wolfpack's lance is just going to do it in, unfortunately. Justin, I'm cheering for you, but I'm calling for the Wolfpack with a 3-2.
And the Tin Mans, their score isn't reflective. They've lost so many pilots this season that puts a real skew on their score as well.
Yeah, and I mean, his lance is good. Like, on paper, it's good. He's got 2 mechs with targeting computers. He's got pulse lasers. He's got all the tools he needs to win. It's just comes down to headshots and bad luck. I'm rooting for you, Justin. I hope you cause an upset for our predictions this week.
Game number 9. We have the first Dracons. They're 1 across the board. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 tie. They'll play up against the Thumper's Revenge, who are on a hot streak. 3 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. Well, Brett, I don't even have to feel bad about this. The Thumper's Revenge is going 4-0. They are going to curb stomp you. I don't think you're ready for the level of violence this lance can throw at you. You're way too dismissive of Snubnose. I think it's going to be a 4-2.
Well, I think Brett's skill level will take a major effect in this, and I think we're going to swing that number that Lee just called out, and I'm calling for Draco with a 4-2.
Oh, Laura.
Time for Battle Babe 2 to put her money where her mouth is.
It's all me, baby. Because I'm not voting against myself. That's just stupid. 4-3.
Yeah, so this game is going to have to get played late if we can get it in. I will be in Saskatchewan at a Warhammer tournament, hanging out with the Wasted Potential crew. So when it comes back, I'm going to be coming back after getting probably 4 out of 5 games of losses in a different system. So I'm going to want to win. I believe I have the experience here. I'm the one that got Laura into the game and taught her probably 2/3 of what she knows. She still surprises the crap out of me. Quite often I'll say, "Why'd you do that?" And she'll say, "Well, because of this." And it's totally not a thing that I would have thought of, but it works for her sometimes. I also believe it's going to be 4-3, but it's going to be a Dracon's victory.
Game number 10. We have the Al Shane regulars. 1 bye-win and 2 losses with 0 ties. They're throwing down with the Devil's Brigade. 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties. See, this is the problem. When you see the bye-win in there and 2 losses, it's hard to tell whether or not Al Shane regulars have been properly tested. Devil's Brigade's a great lance. I got to give him the win again. This muddying of the middle ground with 2 wins, 2 losses. The Devil's Brigade are going to take it, and I think it's going to be a pretty big beating. We're going to go 4-2.
You also have to take into account, like you said, with the bye wins, Devil's Brigade, one of their losses is a bye loss. So realistically, it's 2 games and he's 50-50, right?
Yep.
So yeah, these are both new to league this season players. They have limited games under, so I don't know too much terribly about them. I think they're great guys, and it would be interesting to sit at the table beside them and just see how this plays out. I think this is probably going to be a 3-1 victory. Flip a coin. I'm going to go with Devil's Brigade.
I've had time to talk with Carlos a couple times now. He's got his head in the right place and he knows what he's trying to get to. He does have that Thunderhawk with the triple Gus and favorite weapon already. Devil's Brigade banked their points this week, so they've got nothing really special, no upgrades to gunnery. But this is going to be Gauss rifle versus heavy Gauss rifle, and who can take who out first. I think that if Devil's Brigade gets into position with both the heavy Gauss rifles he has, that Al Shane is in for problems. So I'm going to call Devil's Brigade 4-2.
Game number 11, Ansgar's Outlaws. 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. They get the pleasure of playing our newest member, James, and his Free Roslog Republic Ghosts of Gunsburg. They're taking over the Renshield scorecard of 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties, so that they aren't behind everybody else when it comes to making the playoffs. I have no idea how James plays. I've seen his lance. It's pretty well put together. He's throwing out some gunnery skills, stuff like that. He's got some pretty good mechs. Ansgar's Outlaws, though, is starting to become a proven material. 2 wins, 1 loss. I am going to say Ansgar's Outlaws give the Ghosts a haunting introduction to League with a 4-2. James, hopefully you get a couple of games in so you'll learn our initiative system, because that could throw you for a loop.
So 3 out of 4 of the Gunsburg mechs are a lance that I would have run. And that being the case, I would have probably swapped out the Grasshopper instead of the Black Knight, but this is exactly what I would like to see played. We'll see that he's ready to go now that he's got his 3 weeks of skill spends in. We're going to see how he adapts to the individual initiatives of our league. But if he's got any kind of real luck on his hands, he's going to pull away a win on the first match. I think the Outlaws, having a couple of games under their belt, are going to win this, though, with a 3-2 victory.
James is Hamilton's brother, so we both know that they know how to play the game. Corey's coming off of a big win versus clans. And I'm pretty sure that every one of Ansgar's pilots firmly has a rabbit's foot placed in their ass. With some of the rolls and stuff that I've seen him be able to pull off over the last few games he's played. I have to go with Ansgar's on this one, and I think it's going to be a 4-2.
Motoring right along, we're on to game number 12. Riston's Rogues. With a record of 3 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties, they're taking aim at Fenrir's Frost Fangs. 0 wins, 3 bye losses, and 0 ties. Well, this is an easy one. Riston Rogues are going to win. They are just teeing up on everybody. The difference will be whether or not it's a bye win, if Will is finally able to get to the table. Hopefully he can. No pressure on you, though, men. If you're listening to the show, we know what's going on. There's no pressure. If he does show up, Riston's still going to win, and it's going to be a 3-2, because I think Will's Archer is going to do some serious work with its Thunderstruck and other little tweaky skills to make sure that it hits hard.
Yeah, Will's got a good lance. He just needs to get a game or two back under his belt to get back into the swing of things. Riston's Rogue is not the opponent for that. I think this is probably going to be a 4-2 victory. 4-1. 4-1 Riston's Rogue's victory as he comes in with his fully ready to go C3 network and upgraded mechs. It'll just be lambs to the slaughter in this time, defanging the Frost.
Skill and C3I trickery puts this in Riston's ball court 100%. It's his to lose, but I don't think we're going to see that happen. It's going to be a 4-1 victory as well. I agree with you, Brett.
Game number lucky 13. We have Condo's Janissaries. 3 wins, 0 losses, 3 ties. Versus the used to be top of the board, Neon Betons with 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. I was actually just sitting down at the table checking out JP's team today. I like it. It's got some really, really interesting firepower. If it gets within 6 hexes of you, you're taking a ton of damage. Problem is you gotta get that close. And the clanners don't have to be that close to do an exorbitant amount of damage. I'm going to say the Neon Betons get back on the winning path. I think they're going to win it. It's going to be probably 4-2, because I think Condo's Janissaries are going to lose a couple of mechs on the way in.
A really big equalizer against Clan Tech is plasma weaponry. All of the Beaton's mechs run hot. That Nova is so screwed. If it gets hit by like 2 or 3 plasma rifles in the same turn, it'll just be done. Because that goes from the difference from, I'm going to overheat and then jump away next turn to dissipate, to, oh, I auto shut down. Going to be kind of rough. I think the Condos cannot get away unscathed from this one. The Beatons just have too much firepower. So we're going to call this a Condos 3-2 victory.
I think this one's going to come strictly down to map. Both of them have bribery. Whoever wins that roll gets the firing position that they want. If Beaton gets the firing position he wants to plunk that newly beefed up Warhawk into some trees, he's laughing. He basically's got a firing advantage with range to hammer on Condos, who's going to take 3 turns, maybe 4 to get there. However, if Condos can deny that, then it's a whole different game. The Warhawk will be the deciding factor. If Condos can take it down, they will take this, and I think JP knows that. So I'm going to call for Condos as well, and I think it's going to be, I have to agree with Brett on this one more time, 3-2. Because he's absolutely right. There's no way Condos is walking away unscathed.
Game number 14. Paxton's Pathfinders, 0 wins, 3 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the surprisingly lost team, the Red Suns Irregulars, with 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. Though they did play the Riston Rogues last game. That's a pretty rough loss. I think the Clanners are mad. I think Clanners are going to come back and clean the board. I think it's going to be 4-0.
I'm hoping Paxton and Pathfinders pick a target and just stay on it like a dog with a bone. I'm looking for a 4-1 Red Suns victory here on this game, but I want to see the Pathfinders walk away with a kill.
I'd like to see the Pathfinders walk away with a kill as well, but I think the damage output of that Daishi, as it's going to make that damn near impossible unless he screws up his movement on the Dragonfly or something like that. I'm with Lee on this one. Red Suns 4-0.
Second last game of the week, we have number 15. The Vengeful Ones. 1 win, 2 losses, 0 ties. They're facing off against the Kenkazi. 0 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. Well, the Vengeful Ones have had a couple of games just not go their way. They have all the accuracy in their clan lance. 8 large pulse lasers, a gauze rifle, elementals to boot. I really think John's just having bad dice luck. Like, the game against you, Jeff, like you said, the game was good. It just did not go, like, the day she fell asleep on relatively low numbers.
I did leave a point out. He did have some good dice luck, because on his first shot of the game, he floating crit me for an engine hit on the Fafnir. And then on the second round of the game, he floating crit me twice for another engine hit and a taking out a plasma rifle as well. So he's not without luck. It's just that one mech falling over and beaning itself. He had one really bad luck moment. So yeah, John's dice have been pretty good to him in this as well, and that is going to be a big factor in this game.
Yeah. I'm thinking John's dice are going to at least roll average, and I think he is going to beat the Kinkazi. He's looking for this game. He's been looking forward to playing Galen for a season and a half. I think the Vengeful Ones are going to take this one, and it's going to be 3-1.
8 large pulse lasers and a gauze rifle, and whatever else we end up seeing coming out of that Daishi now, because it's been engineered. I think this is his to lose. I'm going to go with a vengeful 3-1 as well.
This is going to come down to whether or not Galen can use his, and I'm going to say it, superior mobility with his Wraith and his modified Maelstrom.
And he's full C3 network now.
Did he get to C3 on the Wraith as well? Because that's a TR1 Wraith.
Yep. He got his C3 on the Wraith as well.
Then he's got a full network. That balances out some of the bonuses that the Vengeful Ones have. Ultimately, I still think that 8 large pulse lasers and a gauze rifle will outgun him. But I think we're looking at a 3-2, not a 3-1. I think John's going to lose the Lancelot and the Battle Cobra in the process.
That Battle Cobra is cursed.
Yeah, well, it's just because it's so lightly armored. If it takes a hit, a good chance you're going to kill it.
Game number 16 is our last match this week. It has Half Cut with a record of 0 wins, 3 losses, 0 ties. They're up against the Fox Knights. 2 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. Paul's got to pull this together. Like, he wasn't even tired last week. Or at least, he looked a lot more alert than he normally does. I'm going to say Paul is going to run into this one. I think he's going to do well. I think he's got his lance right where he wants it. As long as he doesn't get bored and go crazy and start doing weird things, I think he can win this. I'm going to say Half Cut takes the win. It's going to be a 3-2 because Fox Knight's going to take it right to the limit.
So normally I'd lean towards a C3 network, except Paul has aggressive clanners. Paul has closing clanners. And that means that while they're at range, the clanners have better numbers. But Paul's not going to sit there and let the Foch Knights get into position to start using C3. He's going to be up and in their face, and everybody's going to be shooting at short range. I think this is going to be a half-cut 3-2 victory.
I've been cheering for half cut since game one. If you look over what was done, he's usually just about there on everything he's been shooting at. He just can't capitalize on knocking something over and finishing it off. I think Paul is going to come out of this one swinging. Newly modified Warhammer. He's got a great Warhawk in his list. That Dragonfly is a phenomenal pull. The Shadowcat TC, there's nothing wrong with it as well. I'm calling this one, and I have to. Paul, I'm still cheering for you. I want you to see this, pull this one out. I agree, it's going to be a 3-2.
Well, that's our show over this week, everybody. I've got to say a couple of things to all the players. Please try to make sure you get your skill spans in as early as possible. A lot of the information that we're missing is because we're getting them in late. Another thing is rescheduling games.
On time, but late in the week.
Yeah, within the time frame, but late, like not giving us a lot of time to get the work done. The other thing is, please make sure you schedule any form of rescheduled games as early as possible with emails. If you don't hear back from us within a day or so, please contact us, because we're busy, and sometimes miss it. And secondly, please, we're trying to make a community out of this. If you don't have to miss a day, don't reschedule. Show up on the game day Sunday, so we get to know you, we all get to talk, and it is way more fun when we have a full house. Anyway, see you guys in a week. Have a good weekend.
Well, it's been a fantastic week of matches. I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't have to add on anything to what Lee has said in regards to skill spends and getting them in on time. And I hope we see everybody this Sunday, and that everybody's prepared for a fantastic day of Battletech. Have a good night, all.
All right, I am out for the week. I will be in Saskatchewan when you're all playing, so have fun without me. And I can't answer any of your questions, so harass the crap out of Lee for me. And have a wonderful day, everybody.